In this video, I'm going to be talking about using unit analysis to convert measures. So we're going to take one measurement, and perhaps it's in one unit, and we want to put it into another unit. For example, we have 3.5 feet, and I want to put that in inches. Okay, well, in order to do that, I have to have this conversion model here. I need to know that 12 inches are in 1 foot. So the idea here is that once I have two things that are equal to each other, that have different units, I can kind of set them up in a kind of a rate format. So I can put 12 inches over 1 foot, or 1 foot over 12 inches. And the idea here is that since 12 inches and 1 foot are equivalent measures, anytime we have a fraction where the top and the bottom, or the numerator and the denominator, are the same value, it's going to come out to be 1. So 12 inches over 1 foot is really just 1. Or 1 foot over 12 inches is really just 1. So the idea here of this unit analysis, I'm going to be multiplying some measurement by 1 over and over and over again, but I'm going to change not its value, but what form it's in. So the idea here is that we have 3.5 feet. I'm just going to put that over 1, because I know I'm going to be multiplying by a fraction. Well, what is it that I'm going to multiply by? Well, I'm going to multiply by 1, and I know I'm going to use one of these unit factors. Okay? Well, which one should I use? Well, right now I have feet on top, so the idea is I want to cancel the feet out, and I want to be left with just inches for my answer. So if I'm going to do that, inches has to be on top, and my feet have to be on bottom. In this way, my feet will cancel out, since anything on the top can cancel with anything on the bottom. So I'm going to use this one right here, 12 inches over 1 foot. So I'm going to multiply by this unit rate here, because 12 inches and 1 foot are the same. So really I'm multiplying this 3.5 feet by 1, which again will in fact not change its value at all, but just change the form that it's in. So since my feet cancel, I'm left with inches, so 3.5 times 12 will be 42 inches. So we're going to say that 3.5 feet is the same as 42 inches. In this second example, I'm going to convert 270 inches to yards. So once again, in order to make this conversion, I have to know something about the relationship between inches and yards. So I know that there are 36 inches in 1 yard, which means I can make a unit rate out of these. I can either say 36 inches over 1 yard, or I can say 1 yard over 36 inches. Okay, and both of these things are going to be the same because they both equal 1. It's just that in the first one the inches are on top and the yards are on bottom, and the second one yards are on top and inches are on bottom. So each one of these in and of itself is useful, but just maybe not both of them in the same problem. So let's see. If we have 270 inches over 1, and I want to multiply by one of these factors, either inches over yards or yards over inches, and I want to convert it to yards, I know yards needs to be on top. So which one of these has yards on top? Well, this one right here. So I'm going to say 1 yard for every 36 inches. And look, so we have inches on top and inches on bottom, so they cancel one another out. So right now we're just looking at this 270 times 1 is 270, and there's 36 on bottom, and the unit that's left over is yards. Okay, so let's kind of take it down here. So what is 270 divided by 36? Well, it's going to be 7.5, and then my units of yards is going to come along for the ride. Since my inches canceled out, I was left with yards, and that was where I was headed. That's what I wanted in the first place, was going from inches to yards. So I have used a unit multiplier, my 1 yard over 36 inches, to change my 270 inches, and I'm not changing, again, its value, I'm changing its form. So instead of being in inches, now it's in yards. In this third example, I'm going to take 8.5 gallons and I'm going to convert it to quarts. So again, in order to make this transition between gallons and quarts, I need to know something about the relationship between the two quantities. So I know that in 1 gallon, and I can abbreviate gallon GAL, I know there are 4 quarts, and I'll abbreviate quarts as QT. Okay, so if I know we have this relationship 4 quarts in a gallon, I can make some unit rates again. 4 quarts in 1 gallon, or 1 gallon in 4 quarts. Okay, and both of these are going to be the same thing, and they're actually just going to be 1, because the top and the bottom, or I can say the numerator and the denominator, are the same value since they're equal to each other. So let's go ahead and convert this. 8.5 gallons over 1. And I'm going to use a unit multiplier here. So if my gallons is on top, I need to cancel it by having gallons on bottom. And I also need to have quarts on top, since that's the units that we're headed toward. Well, do I have one with quarts and gallons? Well, right here, 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So my gallons have canceled out. I'm left with my units of quarts. So 8.5 times 4. Well, 8 times 4 is 32, and then half of 4 is 2. So it looks like 34 quarts is going to be how many quarts I have in 8.5 gallons. So again, I've used this unit multiplier. So I needed 4 quarts over 1 gallon because it met my needs as far as canceling the gallons and leaving the quarts on top. So I have now made the conversion from gallons to quarts. In this final example, we're going to take 2 miles and convert that to inches. Well, the relationship between miles and inches, well, we don't really know. But we know as we move from inches to miles, we do have feet in the middle. Okay, so, and I know how many inches are in 1 foot. There's 12. And I know how many feet are in 1 mile. There's 5,280. So I can use these two ideas to kind of do 2 conversion factors instead of just 1, because we don't exactly know how many inches is in 1 mile, but we can go from miles to feet and then feet to inches. So let's set this up. So if I have 2 miles over 1, I'm going to use 2 unit multipliers. Okay, my first one will go from miles to feet. So since I had a miles on top, I need miles on bottom, so they cancel. Well, what is the exact relationship between feet and miles? Well, there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So now we're at feet, but that's not where we're going to stop. We want to stop at inches. So let's put feet on bottom here. So the feet then will cancel out. And what's the relationship between inches and feet? Well, there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So here's what's going to happen. Everything on bottom is canceled out. So we have 1, 1, 1, and the miles and the feet have canceled out. So we actually have nothing left in the denominator that we care about. We just have in the top 2 times 5,280 times 12, and inches is our units that's going to come along for the ride. So we're going to say 2 times 5,280 times 12 inches. Well, 2 times 5,280 should be 10,560, and then 10,560 times 12 inches should be something like 126,720 inches, if I remember right. So this is how many inches are in 2 miles. We couldn't make the direct conversion from miles to inches, so we had to go to an in-between unit, which was feet. So we went miles to feet, and then feet to inches. And we found 126,720 inches in our 2 miles.